Hello, I'm Lucatorix and welcome to my Macedon faction guide for Rome Total War. Today we're going to be having a look at the Macedonian units, the campaign strategy and the buildings available on the Imperial campaign. So, Macedon is a supposedly non-playable faction. Their data files can be unlocked so that you can play it. There's plenty of tutorial videos on the internet to show you how to play as Macedon. But they cover this region here around Macedonia, as you'd probably guess, sort of north of modern day Greece, and they have a sort of relatively tough starting position. I don't know, because they're near the Greeks, they're near the Romans, they're near Middle Eastern factions and the Thracians. They're kind of surrounded, but it is quite a good faction, particularly if you like pikemen and phalanxes and hoplites and all that. Then it's a pretty good faction to use. The game describes them as hoplites and pike phalanxes plus powerful cavalry. So there you go. It says powerful cavalry. I think that's more late game cavalry, particularly Greek cavalry. We haven't looked at Greece yet as a faction guide, but this kind of faction, their cavalry is generally really bad at the beginning, but later on it kind of progresses. So talking of cavalry and infantry, let's have a look at the Macedonian units. Okay, so this is Macedon. And as you can see, it's not got a lot of missile troops. That is what I will say. It's generally a faction that is used for phalanxes. So first of all, we have peasants, and these peasants are terrible, like all peasants. There isn't a lot more to say about peasants. It's just basically don't use them unless you're really desperate. So first of all, militia hoplites. Now, honestly, militia hoplites are pretty terrible. They're probably the worst hoplites you'll find in the game. But they can form a phalanx because they are hoplites. They have bonus fighting cavalry for that exact reason. But their poor morale, the fact they've only got an attack of 5 and a defense of 8, it just means these guys aren't that good. If they'll be alright against cavalry if they charge into the front, but a cavalry charge into the side of the back and they're gone. They're gone instantly. They're only like a short step up from a peasant, to be honest. They'll do alright in the early game, but honestly, they won't hold out, and you won't be using them particularly in the later stages. But I mean, they're pretty cheap, and they're the first phalanx you get, so you will use them a bit. But they are not that good. They are only a short step up from pretty terrible infantry units, mainly because they're poor morale. But there we go. Next up, Levy Pikemen. Now these guys are a bit better. Not really in the old attack and defense. In fact, they've got a low defense than the militia hoplites, but they're more numerous in terms of how many there are in a unit. And they also have poor morale, so, and they're vulnerable to missiles, but they do have very long spears. This is what makes them better than militia hoplites, is that they have longer spears, so the enemy is physically further away from you, which makes them slightly better. Honestly, these guys aren't amazing either. Again, a cavalry charges the back or the side, and they're gone, but they're alright, but yeah, lack of armor is a big issue with these guys, so you want to be moving up to Phalanx Pikemen as quickly as you can. The main reason and the main difference between this and the previous pikemen were the fact that they have not bad morale. They don't have good morale, they don't have bad morale, so they can hold up to a little bit more. Plus, their defense is 13, which is pretty decent as well. Significant 8 up from the Levy Pikemen. Their attack is 8, which is solid. Hoplites generally don't have a good attack, but they have a good defense. They're a sort of defensive unit that sort of hold the line. And of course, these guys are good at fighting cavalry because they are hoplites or pikemen. Next up, Royal Pikemen. Now these guys are a big step up for several reasons. Their defense is better, significantly better. Their attack is better, and they have good morale and very long spears. So the combination of the fact that they're further away from the enemy, they can stand up to more. They have better armour and they can actually do more damage, means that these are the best pikemen the faction of Macedon are going to get. And these guys are good. They have good stamina. They have, they can form a phalanx, of course. And yeah, these guys are solid. What can I say? This is the elite pikemen of Macedon, and if you couple that with good experience and good weapons and good armour, these guys are really, really tough to deal with. So yeah, these guys. But I mean, they're a defensive unit, but they're not particularly manoeuvrable, but that's the case with all phalanx troops. But as phalanx troops go, these are pretty damn good, I would say. Next up, Peltas. Nothing particularly special. You've probably seen Peltas before. They are not melee troops. That's why they have an attack of 3 and a defense of 4. Their missile attack is 6, which is decent, but it's nothing better than that. And of course, these guys are fast-moving skirmishers who are good against elephants and chariots, and they can hide in the long grass. But they are vulnerable to missiles themselves, of course. So yeah, these guys are solid. If you need a little bit of cheap missile fire, someone just to harass the enemy, then these guys are pretty good, but they'll run out of their javelins pretty quickly, and then after that they're pretty damn useless. I would rather have just archers, who aren't as fast. They are fast moving, but they aren't as good skirmishers in my opinion. Their missile attack is slightly better. They basically have the same melee stats, but they have more of their missiles, and they are longer distance. So yeah, archers are pretty solid. They're alright starting archers for a faction, I would say. Next up, Greek Cavalry. Greek Cavalry are notoriously bad. It doesn't say they have poor morale here, which surprises me, to be honest. They are fast-moving horsemen, they're light cavalry, with an attack of 6, 8 defense, and charge bonus of 5, but they just collapse instantly unless they're chasing a routing unit. So that's what I use them for. Chasing routing units, maybe to flank a little bit, but if they charge into any decent infantry unit or any other cavalry unit, they're down straight away. They will not be able to survive. So yeah, they're useful as light cavalry, but don't think you're going to get a good fight out of them, because you're not going to, quite simply. Next up, Light Lancers. Attack of 7, defense of only 5, and a charge bonus of 9. Similar thing here, but they do have good morale. So they'll go down quickly, but they'll fight for longer. So a sort of a bit of a trade-off there, I suppose. Fast moving, these guys are light cavalry, hence the name. But yeah, they're pretty solid, I would say. For light cavalry, I mean, light cavalry I don't really rate in the game. I'd much rather have heavy cavalry. But if you want to chase routing units, they're pretty solid. But yeah, other factions have far better cavalry. And talking of better cavalry, we have Macedonian cavalry. This is proper cavalry. 8 attack, 17 defense, so a lot higher. A charge bonus of 6, good morale, very well armoured, and good stamina. So like I said at the beginning, the cavalry at the beginning, these two aren't that good, but the later cavalry is pretty decent. The Macedonian cavalry is an example of that. And in the late game, combine, these guys, the Royal Pikemen, to get to pin the enemy down, and then a good charge in from some Macedonian cavalry into the rear or the flank. Yeah, you're going to get units routing, and these guys will stand and fight for a long time, unlike their light cavalry counterparts. Next up, General's Bodyguard. Pretty straightforward stuff. A General's Bodyguard at the beginning isn't particularly good before the Marian reforms. It's alright, good morale, good stamina, so they're solid. I think for a general unit this is pretty disappointing though, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. They have an attack of 11 and a defense of 10, 2 hit points and 6 charge. But yeah, a solid unit, not as good as their companion cavalry, not as good as companion cavalry. They are the social and military elite, it says here. 10 attack, 17 defense, similar to the Macedonian cavalry, and a 9 charge. Good morale, well armoured, very well armoured in fact. Powerful charge and good stamina means these guys are pretty solid as well, similar to the Macedonian cavalry. So companion cavalry, I rate them. And then General's Armoured Bodyguard. Here we go, the post-Marian General's Bodyguard. As you can see, the defense has gone up massively, and they have good morale, and they're very well armoured. The armour is a big part of it. They'll fight for longer, and they'll be harder to take down. So General's Armoured Bodyguard, pretty solid post-Marian General's Cavalry. Next up, Ballistas. These are the regular ballistas that you see. Some factions don't even get ballistas though, so pretty decent. They're basically huge arrows, I suppose, is a alright term expression to use. An attack of 53 and a defense of 3, because the people holding the ballistas aren't good fighters. But yeah, they'll do a solid job, but honestly, I never really find a useful reason to use ballistas. I'd much rather just use an onager to take a wall down or something. Attack of 53 as well against people, and against buildings, an attack of 70, and they can use flaming missiles and all that. So onagers is better, and the same goes for heavy onagers, which are heavier but better versions of the normal onager. Now, 2 units, these are sort of like mercenary units that other factions can pick up. Illyrian Mercenaries. These are better versions of Peltas, essentially, because they can actually fight a little bit in the melee. And they have a better missile attack. So, they're just generally better. I would say, but obviously they're more expensive, but a pretty solid skirmishing unit if that's your thing. I don't think many people like using infantry skirmishers a lot, but if you do, Illyrian Mercenaries are pretty damn solid. But Cretan Archers, I love Cretan Archers. These are probably one of the better archers in the whole game. There probably is a better archer somewhere. The great thing about these guys, long-range missiles, and really ridiculously long-range missiles the Cretan Archers have. 11 missile attack, which is a lot more than the standard 7 missile attack of the normal archers. And they have a good morale, so Most archer units, if they do for some reason have to fight in the melee, they'll just collapse straight away. Not these guys, they'll stay and they'll stand their ground for a little bit, which is pretty solid. They'll get their daggers out and they'll start fighting. So yeah, I like Cretan archers. The Macedonian faction does not have a lot of good ranged troops, so if you can pick up some Cretan archers as mercenaries or whatever, then definitely do so, because they're pretty good, I would say. Now, let's have a look at the map and the campaign strategy next, after looking at the introduction video, of course.
The Greeks could rule the world. Alexander did. He took a Greek army to the far Indus. There was nothing left to conquer. The world was his. But Alexander is dead. His empire is gone. And so we live in evil days. The free men of Greece have turned on each other instead of their proper enemies, those who envy all the Greeks have done. Alexander must weep if the dead weep. I would weep in his place, but I would also hope. The world turns. What was may come again. The fates still spin the web of men's lives. So now, perhaps the gods wish Greeks to be great again. Perhaps a new Alexander will take up the sword. Bring order where there is chaos. Remake the world of men to a better plan. Perhaps.
Okay, so here is the starting position for Macedon. This is what you can see starting out, and you can see that there are the Greeks there and the rebel city of Athens. And of course we have Corinth as well, which is actually part of Greece. Now, what I'll do is I will turn off the fog of war, just so we can see what's going on around. It's easier to explain without the fog of war. Obviously, I do not normally play the game without the fog of war, because I consider that sort of cheating, but just for explanation purposes, so I can tell you what's around, here we go. Now, there are quite a few threats to Macedon, and that's why as a faction they don't normally last long when controlled by the AI in the game. And the reason is they'll quite often go to war with Thrace, normally over Byzantium or Tylis or something. The Dacians could get involved. They normally aren't too much of a threat. They'll normally fight either the Thracians, or more likely they'll travel in this direction, in a westerly direction, towards Aquincum and Lovacy and Uvum, and they'll take those settlements. So the Dacians aren't too much of a threat. The Thracians might be. It depends whether they want to target the Dacians, the Scythians, which is less likely, or you. They're likely to choose between you and Dacia. If they choose you, then you've got to leave some troops up here to deal with them. Thracians aren't too difficult to deal with, though. If you take out the two starting settlements quickly, then they're no longer a threat. But the problem is then you're leaving this region a little bit less defended. Now, if I was Macedon, the first thing I'd do probably is focus all my force on getting the Greeks out. Don't worry about the Romans yet, they will come over, don't you worry, they will come over. You can try and take Apollonia and Salona on the way, because they're just nice settlements to have, and it's sort of like the first line of defence against the Brutii. But focusing on Termon, trying to get these armies from Thessalonica and Larissa down to Termon, down to Sparta. Sparta is not easy to take. There are Spartan hoplites, as you can see. These guys are mental. You can't see their stats, but trust me, when I show you the Spartan hoplites next faction guide episode, they're pretty good. But militia hoplites aren't that strong. Peasants are terrible. Normal hoplites are solid, and this guy's pretty solid as well. But yeah, Sparta, just take it out before it gets too strong. That's what I'd say. Athens isn't too difficult to take because it's rebel. And then, yeah, other than that, it's just rebel settlements. Byzantium's pretty nice to take if you want. So first thing you want to do basically is solidify this whole region, kick the Greeks out, and then prepare for the Brutii. Now it depends how quick / slow they are. If they're quick, they'll probably take Apollonia before you. They might not, though. If they sort of bumble around and do nothing, they might sort of just hang around, in which case you can then take the fight to them. But you might have to defend Salona and Apollonia. So as soon as you've dealt with the Greeks, honestly, there isn't too much of a threat from the Greeks in this direction. You can go and take them out if you want. There isn't too much of a threat from Pontus or Seleucids. I wouldn't worry about this direction. I'm more worried about this direction and Rome. So I would personally take the fight to Rome, get all the troops over to Tarentum and Croton straight away, and just try and take the Brutii out. But yeah, first thing I would do definitely is solidify the region, kick out all the rebels and the Greeks, and then go and focus on the Brutii. If you don't, they'll attack you anyway. They will attack you. that is pretty much hard-coded. The Brutii will attack you at some point, so you might as well take the fight to them quickly. It depends how quick you take out Termon, Athens, and Sparta, and Apollonia and Salona, of course, as well. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about this northern region. I don't think the Dacians are a threat, and if Thrace do send a couple of armies down, you should probably have enough to defend it, because, you know, good hoplites, good pikemen in a city, they're going to do a pretty solid job against Thracians who, other than Falksmen, don't have any really decent infantry units at all, and they certainly don't have any good cavalry, that is for sure. So yeah, that is what I would say in terms of strategy for Macedon. Once you've done that, it's relatively straightforward. You just focus on the Romans, basically. You know, I would go and take Italy. Then at some point, if you want to kick the Greeks out of the Middle East, yeah, and the Seleucids is pretty easy to take. Gudonia is a nice assessment to take because it's really profitable. It's got lots of dye and stuff. If you get a port there and all that, it's really good. And of course, this region is a good region to take because you get the statue of Zeus at Olympia, which is one of probably the best wonder of the world in the game. +4 bonus to population loyalty. That's pretty solid, I would say. So yeah, that's a good one, of course. And yes, that's pretty good, I would say. So yeah, that is the campaign sort of strategy for Macedonia is what I would do. Let's have a look at the buildings next. Okay, building browser. This is pretty straightforward. I will scroll down slowly. All these buildings you should have seen before if you've watched any of the other videos. The Greek, the Hellenic factions get theatres, so you get an Odeon at the beginning, 5% population order bonus. Lyceum, is that how you say it? I hope so. And then a theatre up to 15% bonus to population loyalty or happiness. Now, there are quite a few temples, as you can see. There are 4. Most factions have 3, I think, but yeah, Macedon get 4. You get... My pronunciation is probably terrible, so I'm sorry. Demeter, Zeus, Artemis, and Ares. Okay, 3 of them are right. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. My knowledge of Greek gods and goddesses isn't great. But anyway, the first faction, we'll have a look at the Pantheon, which is the highest level. They have a 25% population public order bonus, +5 to food and farm production, which means that population will boom if you use this. Even at the early levels, there's a +1 bonus. So if you want to grow a settlement quickly, this is the shrine for you for sure. And then +10 public order bonus due to law, and also a +2 experience bonus to troops. So if you want to grow a city quickly, this is the Pantheon for you. Next up is Zeus, I believe. Let's double check that. Yep, it's Zeus. And of course, this is a pretty good one. It's a pretty good all-round one because he is the king of the gods after all. +25% public order bonus, +25% public order bonus, 2 of them for law and happiness. And then you have improved farms and food production, not quite as much as this one, but +2 is still pretty solid. +2 experience bonus, which is the same as the other one, but you also get a +2 to missile weapons. Now, that's alright, but you're not going to be using a lot of missile troops as Macedon anyway, so it probably isn't the best. But if you want to upgrade your archers and actually make them more useful, particularly in the late game, then using a Pantheon to Zeus is pretty good, I would say. Next up, Artemis. I would guess this is missile weapons, and yeah, I'm right. Okay. Public order bonus 25%, which is a pretty common theme. +3 upgrades to missile weapons, which, yeah, is not surprising as it's Artemis. So this is pretty good, I would say, actually, because, you know, as I said, you don't have a lot of missile power as Macedon. So I suppose, actually, if you want to upgrade the archers, it's actually a pretty good deal you get out of that. And then 10% public order bonus due to law, and improved farms and food production +2. So as Macedon, it's pretty easy to get your population up, which is good. It means you'll be able to get up to higher tech levels than your enemy factions. And then finally, Ares. We'll start from the top. 25% public order bonus due to happiness, pretty common theme as I just said. +3 experience bonus to troops, +1 morale bonus, increase in tradable goods, and 10% public health bonus. I would say it's probably the best one because you've got a bit of everything. You've got tradable goods for the economy, you've got public health bonus for growth, you've got the military stuff, +1 morale bonus is great, and you've got the public order. I would say Ares is probably the best, but it's sort of a matter of if you want to recruit troops, infantry troops, you probably want Ares. If you want to recruit missile troops and settlement, you probably want Artemis. If you want to grow a town quickly, you want this geezer, and if you want sort of something all round, you go for Zeus. That is what I would probably say. So yeah, this is going to be the end of our faction guide. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll be back with the Greek one very, very soon, and then we have done every single faction for Rome Total War. So, yeah, we'll have to find something else to do in the meantime. But other series are coming out all the time. We still have the Bad Economy Challenge, Scythia, and of course the Mercenary Challenge. All three of them are still going. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you around.